Hey Javier, I've been following your content for a while now, and I have to ask, why are you still telling people it's a good time to buy a home? Here's why I think it's bad advice. Number one, interest rates are through the roof. You know as well as anyone that interest rates make mortgages more expensive. It's practically financial suicide for buyers right now. Number two, home prices are ridiculous. Prices are still sky high and buyers are getting ripped off. Why encourage them to dive into a market that's so inflated? And number three, the economy is unstable. With inflation and job uncertainty, the economy is hanging by a thread. Advising people to make a huge financial commitment in these conditions is irresponsible. I get that everyone's trying to make a living, but pushing people to buy in this climate isn't helping them. Are you really looking out for your audience's best interest? Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this. Best. So normally I like to make videos about emails that maybe I can like turn into a video to provide some insight or helpful for any people out there. But honestly, I chose this video because I think this is a very common sentiment people have right now. There's a lot of rage, for lack of a better word, about just home ownership in general. There's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of grief about just, especially if you look at where you could have bought just even 3 years ago, like how insane things have gotten. I'm not going to sit here and like fight you and say, well, technically rates are the low, if you look at the historical average, no, 100% interest rates right now, I think they're going down, but they're like in the like low sixes at the moment. It's currently August 1st. So it's like low 6% range. Still at the low 6% range, I think like your rate needs to be like around 4.5 around there. So that way you don't, like, if it's below 4.5, you won't pay more than what your mortgage, like what you paid for the house, like the purchase price in interest after 30 years. So like, as long as it's over 45, it's going to hurt. 4.5, not 45. Sorry. So I get it. Even with them going to low sixes, high fives, mid sixes, it's still really high and it still really sucks. It still hurts. Especially when you see a lot of people that had houses that they bought for the 2 or 3% interest rate. So yeah, dude, totally valid point. Interest rates are high right now, and if you buy a house and you live in it for 30 years, you're gonna pay a lot of money in interest. Second thing is about home prices. Home prices are high. Here's the thing about that. So despite the feedback I get from a lot of you guys just being like, I'm a real estate agent, I have an agenda. At least I can provide you guys some insight of what current home buyers are experiencing. I primarily help first-time home buyers in the Phoenix, Arizona area. Price ranges between 300 to 400 to 500,000. Rarely do I ever go above 500, 600, but I've been known a few times to do that. And I would say about 80% of the areas that we're looking at, we're able to get the house at list price or below list price, right? And there's still certain areas, like let's say 20% of the houses or the areas, where surprisingly it still sells at list price or even above. I had a cash buyer the other day. They had an inheritance, and they went to go look at this house that had everything. It had a pool, had an RV gate, had like a quarter or not even a quarter, like a third of an acre. It was beautiful, and it was the first house they ever saw, and like, this is it. But they were paying cash, and I was like, yeah, I get it. Like, there's multiple offers. I was able to find out that the highest offer they had was list price with no closing cost. I said, if we want the house, we should go for it. But they're like, no, we want to try to get a deal. We're cash. I said, okay, well, let's try to get it 10,000 below. To me, as a seller, I would rather sell it to a cash buyer slightly under price because it's a more secure deal. You don't have to worry about an appraisal, yada, yada. We got beat. We got beat by a financed offer because they decided either to go higher in their price or who knows what. But that, even though there's an appraisal and all that, we still got beat. So it was a very, it didn't sell for above, but it felt very like pandemic-ish area-ish, when things sold for a lot more. So I would say even to 20% it sells equal. I would probably put the above maybe like 2 to 3%. I'm seeing a lot of price reductions, or I'm seeing a lot of houses that are selling at list price and giving a lot of concessions, which is basically selling it below list price, because an appraisal will look at the house that's sold at list price with a bunch of closing costs and really, use the net number on that. And you know what? It's providing a lot of relief to home buyers. Like I've got people who are like actually looking in the 350s or 400s now, and it's like, yes, my payment is going to be under 2400. And when they're renting a house like in the freaking almost high 2000s, it's a nice like relief. I've got a buyer who are getting new roofs, new ACs. I've got buyers who are getting a giant chunk of concessions that they're using to buy down the rate and do all kinds of stuff with it. For the people that are actually out there and they're engaging, it's providing relief. So I can view that, and I can view that with like a positive spin to it. Like, it's pretty awesome that we can negotiate and be in power. Like, we can go look at a house and actually not, immediately think about making an offer. We can think about it for a few days. However, yes, there are those crazy situations I told you about earlier, but it's nice to actually have some power for once. The third thing is the inflation and job uncertainty. Economy's hanging by a thread. Basically, you're telling me that the experts are predicting a market correction, right? And I'm setting up people for like a loss of equity situation. Economic uncertainty is a valid concern. But I try not to let it bug me too much, but I don't think there's ever been a video I've ever made that just tells people, buy, now's the time to buy. For people that have been watching me for a while, and please, I implore anyone who's been watching me for more than, the last month, longtime viewers, please let me know in the comment below. Have I ever said to everyone should buy? Or have I always said, if you're looking to buy and you have a strong why, you have the means, you can afford it, then you should consider buying? I guess it's easy to point the finger, at the end of the day, yes, I do make a living off people buying and selling a house. So, if someone ever comes my way and says, hey, I want looking to buy or sell, and I go, great, well, I'll help you, Yeah, I can't be a financial advisor, I'm not going to tell them, hey, you shouldn't really buy a house right now. You shouldn't really afford it unless it's like a clearly terrible situation. My job is to get people set up with the pre-qualification, to see if they can actually qualify and afford a home. Once we get those numbers back, I can hope that these guys are having internal dialogue on, can we afford this monthly payment? And then if they're looking to buy a real estate agent or buy a house with a real estate agent, I will say, hey, I would look forward to help you. These are people that already are buying anyways. There is always a general idea of what people think is going on in the market. Like a general thought, if buying a house is good, so this is like buying a house is blank, right? The general population always have an idea of what this is. Right now, the way things are, the general vibe is buying a house is bad, right? People are saying that because the market's going to crash, things are inflated, all the things that were mentioned in the video. And definitely if you're on YouTube for longer than 5 minutes on the real estate side, you will definitely get that vibe right away. The top view channels are people with very like dramatic thumbnails. Don't buy these kind of houses, they're terrible. Fire in the back. It's just negativity is what sells, right? So this is the main vibe that's being pushed. But this changes. Like, there's a cycle that happens. Eventually, either after a correction or the rates drop or something, this will change, and then buying a house is okay, right? So whatever is going on in this space, so I'm just gonna put meh, buying a house is meh, like whatever is going on here, there's always gonna be a small percentage of people that are buying despite public opinion. There's always gonna be, it's a smaller group, but there's just people here, it's hard to explain them. It's hard. You have to, like I keep telling you guys, and I think you guys don't really get it when I say you need to have an amazing, like, strong why. Their why and their desire to own a home is so strong that even though they're aware of how the market is, they are moving forward. Now, my job and my role is to help. Let me get this straight. I'm not always clear on this. Sometimes I get so obsessed with the views and the like, oh my gosh, I need to help all this, that I start making content for all these people, right? Like, oh, these people need to be informed on the right thing about what's going on in the market. But those folks are always just going to follow whatever the media, whatever the market tells them, right? They're not making a decision. Now, what happened during the pandemic is there's a lot of these folks that flooded here, and this was a much bigger circle, probably as big as the general population, but either way, I digress. my job is, if those people that are buying right now, that are like, we don't care how the market is, we've been saving, our landlord is kicking us out, we're looking at rentals, it's the same price it is to have a mortgage, whatever that reason is. Yes, it is a much smaller group right now, but my job is to educate those people and give them as much tools and resources as possible, so that way they get set up for success. And right now, the way the market is and the way YouTube is, that is a small pool. Maybe everyone watching this video is in this pool. Maybe this pool doesn't necessarily mean people that are buying. It's like even the people that want to buy. Like maybe there's like a big old circle here of people that are like, we will buy when X happens. We will buy when rates drop to 5 or 4.5 or whatever. We will buy when prices drop to a certain price in my certain city. Whatever the case is, there's a lot of people here that are just kind of in the shadows waiting, right? But my goal isn't to do this. My goal isn't to educate people and to tell them to buy. Yeah, I hate to break it to everybody here, but we all have something to do. We all have our part to play. I've decided that my part to play is to educate people as best as possible, because those are folks that are buying a house with or without me, or with or without watching my videos. So if I could provide some kind of insight or some kind of aha moments or some moments of like clarity for those people, so that way they don't get taken advantage of in this market, then I'm okay with that. So to answer your question, sir, or to respond to your critique, yeah, I'm not here to convince people to join the path. I'm here to guide people. You know what I mean? So if you're in the same camp, I hope that this video brought some clarity and some assurance in knowing, like, yeah, it feels like that journey is long. For some people, it feels even longer because it's really unaffordable right now. But rates don't stay like this forever. Prices don't stay fixed forever. There will be some adjustments that happen down the road. It is your time to prepare. Opportunity is when preparation meets luck. Yeah, right. Well, no, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Thank you. So if you are getting prepared and the opportunity comes up, people will say that you are lucky, but prepare. If this video brought you any kind of clarity, I'd appreciate if you share it with someone, or hit like or subscribe or do whatever you want to do. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in Phoenix, my website's javiervidana.com. Go here, click it, make an appointment. You could also, if you're looking anywhere else in Phoenix, set up a referral with any agent anywhere in the country. Just click here, fill out some little information, and you get connected with a great agent in your area. And of course, we have our home buyer tools here. Thanks for everybody who's purchased and left a 5-star review. I appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Hope this video helped. Have a good one, y'all.